Hello, my name is Kendall, and this is my series on relearning how to draw as an artist. It's a bit strange learning how to redraw as an artist and someone who has been creating art for practically my whole life. Since I could start making art, I was. But honestly, when it comes to my skills in art, it did have to be learned. I wasn't one of those people where I just knew how to draw something like hyper realistic. And even to the point of where I got with my art, I had people who were like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky to know how to draw. And the truth was, I didn't. I didn't know how to draw. It was something that I had to spend a lot of work on. And as of recently, I stopped making art almost completely. With the rise of AI, it was honestly very, very discouraging, more than what I would like to admit that it was, but it just felt like, what's the point of me continuing? Plus, other life events, I just put down the paintbrush, put down the pens, put down every single art supply that I had. And now, since I have been reintroducing art into my life, it has brought a lot of joy, but at the same time, I have felt even more discouraged because I have noticed that some of my art skills aren't quite where they used to be. And the thing is, I want to change that. I don't want to just get to where I was, but I want to exceed where I was. And this has been an idea that I've had, a series that I've had in mind for a long time, but it has also been extremely intimidating with the fear of not being consistent, the fear of actually seeing how bad I am at drawing. And honestly, I just have to do it at this point. So I hope you can follow along with this journey. And I hope that it's not even just drawing, but that throughout this whole journey of relearning art as an artist, just learning to be free with art, not putting limitations on what art should look like and what good art should look like, but really focusing on what do I like? What do I like? Like, my proportions don't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to be perfect. What scratches my brain when it comes to my own art, and how can I build my own skills in drawing and painting and sculpting? So I hope that you can follow along in this journey with me, and that this can help you help you as well, and that you can even go through some of these practices with me, because over a year ago I purchased this book. Okay, it was on sale, and it is The Fundamentals of Drawing. It has been intimidating, so it's been sitting on my shelf for years, but we'll be going through it on this series. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you stick around, and this is episode 1 of my new series of learning how to draw as an artist. Going through this series, there will be different things that I will be touching on, as everything is going to build upon itself. The main goal here is to really master what I'm doing. So the first thing that I'll be learning is technique. This practice in particular is to do horizontal, vertical, slanted, and a checkerboard pattern square. Along with this, the practice of drawing circles. Initially, it looks pretty simple, but it really helps you to master your hand and mind coordination. It forces you to think about every single stroke that you are going to do and make it extremely intentional. While going through this practice, it made me realize how important consistency is in art. And that also is something that this practice hones down. Expectation isn't that you just draw lines, it's that you draw lines the exact same length and also the exact same width apart. It's to understand when to stop so that you create a very specific shape. You first have to imagine what you're doing and then do it, and try to do it to a T. And because you're not shading something in, you're simply drawing lines. When there is a mistake that's made, a line too far apart, it is very obvious. When something is not fully straight, when it's crooked, when it's bent, you can see it clearly. In practicing something like this, I have found to be more important than what I thought it was, because when you look at a piece of art, you can have inconsistencies in it. Something can look off or wrong or not the same, and in a way that is obviously not intentional. When this happens, it's easy to look at that piece of art and be able to tell maybe this was a beginner who made it, maybe this was a mistake. Even something as simple as drawing shapes in your art. When intentionally made slanted, it's amazing, but when unintentionally made slanted, it can take away from the painting. It can break the facade. Or it can all in all change what you were trying to project, change what you wanted the viewer to see. While going through this practice, I definitely am seeing a lot of areas that I can work on in my art. In regards to the circles, not only drawing a better circle, but also drawing them in a straight line. I also have a habit of drawing sideways, so for me, I want to definitely learn how to draw straight on, because I can see throughout the practice when I change the position to drawing sideways. Yes, at times I'm able to draw in a straighter line, but then also the image can be more distorted that I'm drawing because I'm not looking at it straight on. As for the circles, you can see that I'm drawing in a more straight line, but when it comes to the squares later on, you will see that they come out a lot more crooked. I don't think drawing sideways is bad, but I also think that it's a benefit and a plus to know how to draw sideways and front on, because it can build two different skills and it can help in different ways when you're drawing different things. As you can see here, I started struggling with the proportions of my lines when I was drawing sideways. And something that I realized while doing this as well is just because you can imagine it, sometimes it's a whole different ball game to actually go ahead and do it. Mentally, it is a skill to be built. It is a muscle to be built to think of it and actually put your pencil to paper or your pen to paper and make it look exactly like you were imagining. You can actually feel it in your muscles trying to conceptualize how to make this drawing that you thought of, but you haven't actually practiced doing yet. It's so strange. I have practiced a bit in my journal, and so now I'm going to move on to the next technique. It is important to hone down these skills though, so I'll be practicing more later on. For this portion, I will be learning how to do shading and how to shade in gradients. You start off at the deepest color you can go and you move forward from there. As you can see, there are a few strokes that you want to practice when coloring in, and I was actually surprised that it works wonderfully doing it like this. It is suggested that you use a few different pencils, but I actually don't have those pencils, so I'm going to be working with my mechanical pencil. This one, I have actually found that the practice starts before you even do the shading. Drawing out all the squares that I will be shading in the first place, that is a part of the practice. When practicing all of these techniques, I keep finding that there's more and more small things that it teaches you that you wouldn't have necessarily guessed unless you would have done the practice. With this one in particular, a big part of it is shading within the lines. Drawing and coloring within the lines is one thing, but when you are moving quick and kind of moving a bit messy when you are shading, keeping it within a certain box can be difficult. And this is a great skill to hone, because when you are shading, sometimes you want to be extremely precise. If you want your shading and you want the lighting to look very, very particular, and you want to create a very, very smooth blend with your shading, making sure you are hitting the areas that you want to hit and you're not hitting the areas that you don't is going to be vital. This was something that I was really needing to pay attention to while I was shading, because it was so easy to just go outside of the lines. And yes, I understand that most times it's not gonna be that serious, you don't need to be that picky, but just learning that precision can really make a difference in your art, and it can also be translated into other areas of your art. And it's a skill that I really want to hone for my own art. The shading came out pretty good for this drawing, but I definitely want to work on making that gradient last even longer. Continuing on with this theme of shading, I'm specifically going to be focusing on each stroke. This right here differentiates the different types of stroke that you're doing when you're lifting your pencil and when you're not. You're creating almost a scribble pattern versus when you're doing lines. These two separate ways of shading creates two different looks in your drawings. The closer versus the further your strokes are, it makes a huge difference in the way it appears. And surprisingly enough, I did learn the importance of how your lines are being drawn. Are they drawn at a slight slant? Do they have a little bit of a curve in them? Are the lines uniformed, or are they kind of wonky? I found that quality in drawing and in every technique comes from precision and thoughtfulness. Not to say that everything has to be perfect for it to be quality, because it doesn't. That's a part of being human. But just thinking through what you're doing and why you're doing it. Drawing isn't just about the big picture. It's about all the small strokes that's within it. Here I am drawing a few circles and I'm practicing the techniques that I just learned. Though we haven't gotten to this portion yet of the iconic ball sphere drawing that every artist has almost always had to practice at some point in their life, I wanted to just give it a shot using solely the techniques that I had just learned. And from this, what I will say is trying these techniques on paper versus actually trying to create a drawing with them is completely different. Your lines and your strokes must adapt to the shape that you are drawing. I definitely still need to work on it, but I'm glad that I got to practice it. For the rest of the page, I'm going to continue practicing all the techniques that I have learned, and I'll do some on camera and off camera. So I hope you enjoy. These are the finished pages of my art practice for today. I truly hope that you enjoyed and that this video was helpful for you. I hope to have you along this journey with me and that we both can improve our art. Thank you for watching this far in my video. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to take care of yourself and watch over yourself, because you, your health, and overall you as an individual, you're so important. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.